Thank you, everyone, for coming. Hello. I appreciate you coming today to learn how to identify if your identity has been stolen. Did you know that all scammers need to start a profile on you is your name and your birthday? Wait, what? Are you thinking a profile? Scammers have a profile of me? Yes, many of them do. Scamming is a $6 trillion a year business. They spend long hours learning the industry, and many specialize in different areas, such as, when you get those pop ups saying your computer has been compromised, that's a scammer doing his industry. So some of the industries are IT scamming, dating site scams, social media scams, and yes, all of those are to obtain your identity and to get you to hand over your hard earned dollars or to find a way to drain your bank accounts, your investments, and your credit cards. So, I would like to share my screen with you. As soon as I always have a hard time figuring out how to do this. Apologize for that. Okay, there we go. And not all scamming is done knowingly to the victim. Often, a person doesn't even know that their identity has been compromised. Scammers may hang on to your information for years. Hi, I'm Darlene Petrie from Scam Prevention International. And today I'm here to bring you awareness on just one topic, and that's to help you decrease your risk of being scammed. Today's topic is how you can identify if your identity has been stolen. A quote from author Frank Abagnale: "If you tell me your name and date of your birth, that's all I need to steal your identity." And when you think of Frank Abagnale's time, that was in the 60s, when he used to be a charismatic, handsome young man who went around and impersonated so many different people. And he did get caught finally, but he is saying that today it is even way more easier to be able to scam people because of the internet. It makes it so easy to be able to get the information that he needs because people are so free with giving their information. They'll answer questions in Facebook groups, and they'll ask you questions like, what was your first dog's name? Or there's just so many things. So it is just a small bit of data. That is all that is needed for scammers to start building their new identity and committing fraud. And it's you who they're building their identity around, and it's you who they're committing fraud against. Is it against or with? So, who is Scam Prevention International? Well, we're an organization and we're passionate about bringing awareness of scammers and other cybercrime to potential targets and victims. And one of the first things I have done is I check to go to a website, and it's called Have I Been Pawned? Here you can put in your email address, where that white spot is, or you can put in your phone number to see if your information has been compromised. When I put in my personal email, I was kind of shocked. It told me that my email had 18 data breaches, and the lists of the organizations that had been breached from where I had received services from. And so I was quite shocked that when I found out that these 18 places had been breached, the organizations themselves have been breached, that the information that they had gotten was my email addresses, They knew my passwords, they knew my phone number, they have my IP addresses, my usernames, they even have my social media profile, they know who my employer is, my job, my education level. And also, when I checked what my password was, I often used the password Matthew 18 because at that time my grandson was 18 years old and it had been seen 597 times. So, absolutely, I don't use that password anymore. Other ways to check are if you've had your identity compromised is by checking your credit scores. It's imperative that you check them to make sure you are that you just have the credit cards registered with them that you are using. And so some of the free places where you can check your credit score are Credit Karma, Equifax, and Borrowwell. I'll put those in the information so that you can check them out and find out if what you have had in the past and what you have now is what is stated on the credit check. So, when you're checking your credit scores, the one thing that you should also keep in mind is, are you checking your credit cards? Are you checking your bank statements on a monthly basis? Because you should be ensuring that the information that you are on the credit cards that are on the bill are what you are being billed for, what you are being purchased. If you share a card, confirm the purchases with each other. If you see discrepancies or aren't sure of the change, call the company to confirm. You may be surprised at even the little charges scammers will put to start using your credit cards. Another way to determine if your identity has been compromised is if suddenly you stop receiving your credit card statements. I'd be like, yay, I'm not receiving them. I mustn't owe them any more money. But that's not quite the case. Whether it's in the email or online, if suddenly you have stopped receiving them, this could mean that the scammer has changed your address. Other signs of identity theft are if you received a letter stating you owe money on your credit card. This can be one of two things. It can be a phishing expedition, which means the scammer will usually want you to to click on a link and in their email or in their text, or it could be a legitimate claim. If you do get something like this, never ever click on the links to follow up. Type in the web browser, the name of the organization, even if you recognize the logo and the logo looks legit and they want you to click, do not, never click on the link that's in the email. Type the address in the web browser yourself and use that information. If you aren't using a credit card, call the company and put that card on hold. If you're doing your finances online, do make sure you have the most up to date virus protection and VPN if you are accessing free internet sites. Also, when you discard your bills or any paper with any of your personal information, do shred it. Don't throw it in the garbage without making sure that it is shredded because they can sift through your garbage and they can find out all of your information. Another way to determine if your identity has been stolen is if the tax department says you owe them money and you were anticipating that you didn't owe them that much, or you're anticipating a bigger check than what you had got. Don't assume that you made the mistake and pay them automatically without question. Contact your tax department to discuss the differences. Scammers will steal social insurance numbers, social security numbers, and they will use that number. And believe me, that number is very sacred. Your social insurance number, your social um, security number, those get paid a lot of money from the deep dark web. That's information that scammers sell, and they will use it, and they will use it to apply for such things as if I think of an example, it would be something like the COVID's funding that was available in many of the different countries. They may apply for student loans. They may even apply and use it on a real job that they applied for. These will increase your earnings, and therefore you will have to pay more taxes. They're getting the money, you're paying their taxes. Do call the tax department if there are any discrepancies of what you thought you should be paying or what you should be getting back. And another way to determine if your identity has been compromised is if suddenly a password isn't working on your accounts. Don't assume that you have forgotten them. Keep your passwords well protected and somewhere where you can have access to them, but not the scammer. If you try to change a password, but it won't let you, key in the company name in the web browser and let the company know of your issues. Most of the time, they will be able to check if there has been suspicious activity with your accounts. Also, if you've ever have you ever Googled your own name? Check the internet out to see what you're up to. It's a very good idea to do every once in a while. Find out. I do that every now and then. I find out what Darlene Petrie is up to on the internet, and I am thankful that I'm not up to that I'm usually up to something good. So I'm happy about that. So this is a good way to determine if someone is using your identity. If there are articles in there that you don't know anything about, then definitely do find ways to change your passwords on your different sites. And so, I thank you for joining me and doing this live stream. I would like to continue and make it so that we are making ourselves stronger and less vulnerable to these scammers. As scammers learn new tricks, we can be learning new tips on how to definitely decrease their income. Like I had said, that they are making a $6 trillion business in 2021. That's what the guesstimate is. And when you work that out, that works out to, I think it was $190,000 in 1 second. That's a lot of money that the scammers make. Also, if there are any topics that you would like me to bring up, please type them in the comments, and you can do this at any time, or you can email me at darlene@scampreventioninternational.com. And let's stay in touch. Let's do live stream. Next week, my topic is on February 8th, same time, same place, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. What to do if you or a loved one has been scammed. And it's at Facebook Live, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you very much for joining me, and I do hope that we will see each other. If you do have any comments, I do have a comment. I have Kimberly, thank you very much for your comment. She says, I just learned that fast food delivery services are now scamming. Oh, that's very good to know. You have to first call the delivery company. Your order goes through them to the restaurant. They take the order amount and payment is made through them. In most cases, it works out, but there are cases where people are waiting and wanting their order to arrive. Finally, they call the restaurant only to find out that there is no order. And thank you very much, Serena. Great work, Grandma, she says. Thank you. Kimberly, I really appreciate you putting that in. Serena, I appreciate your comment too as well. Thank you. And I am going to look up this information and find out about that, because that is a new scam that I have not heard about. So thank you very much for putting that in. And like I said, If anybody else has information that they hear of, if they hear of new scams, I think it's great that we share this scam. And it's amazing all the different ways. So I have posted in the chat the information of where you can get Have I Been Pawned, and the different places where you can get the credit scores, and I've also included my email address. So really, I would really like to thank you all for coming. It is a great pleasure to be here, and I do look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you. Thank you.